Yes.
Yes.
5A.
5A.
They're number one.
They got the number one defensive end in the nation, I believe.
Oh shoot.
They beat Cienega.
They beat Tucson High in the quarters last year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and they think they played a Tucson team this year.
They played Cienega.
Cienega, yeah. And
Yeah, they wiped them 26-0.
At least it wasn't like 40.
Yeah, I thought it'd be more of a rout.
Yeah.
15 out. Does Tucson High get in this year?
Yeah, I think they do it.
Strength of schedule helps them too.
Yeah, they just gotta be competitive against Marana.
Alright, and we are live.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to another preview show. Week 9, season gone by super quick. Joined as always by Javier Morales, all Tucson Sports, and Bobby the Jet Rodriguez. How you guys doing?
Good.
Doing
man.
good, thank you.
Another week of football.
Yep, another week of great Southern Arizona football. Let's get right into it. South Point will have a week off like they just did. They're healthy, ready to go, but they have a giant in front of them. Basha versus South Point. Mr. Morales, tell us a little bit about this matchup.
This is a tough matchup for South Point, but I think it's good for them to be playing these teams to help them get ready for the postseason. So they're number 12 in the Open Division rankings. So if they're probably not going to fall out of it, even though they might lose to Basha. I think just by playing the number 1 team in the state will keep them in the Open Division rankings.
Yeah.
And going from there, they play two not as strong teams the next couple weeks, Westwood and Pinnacle, and then they end up with can't remember the last one, but it's a top team. So they have a tough schedule. They already played at Red Mountain.
Yeah.
So I think playing these games, it looks tough going into it, like they might lose. They're not thinking that way, but to us, it looks like they could lose. But I think in the long run, it's going to help them out as they get close to the postseason.
Yeah. Bobby, you've been in situations like this. Does it help you more having a bye, or are you kind of one of those guys that just wish you would go all the way through with it?
I like to keep the momentum going, but it is football, and some guys do need that week of rest just to heal up their bodies or whatever bumps and bruises they may have. But also for your mentals, that can help too. So again, they got a tough game on Friday against Basha. I think they're ranked somewhere 20th in the nation.
20th in the nation, number 1 in the Open Division. They're a giant. No, they're the giant of Southern Arizona football right now.
Yeah, so that's a good program test to see where you're at, kind of the later half of the season, so coach can see who are his dogs and who can he trust and who can he rely on going into the postseason.
Yeah, so you've been in it before. You're facing a giant. What would you tell the players? What were you telling yourself when you were at Sunnyside when you would play a top team like Basha?
It's all about preparation. So obviously take care of everything at home, in school. So I mean those don't interfere with what's going on. And then also it's all about the preparation, the film, practice has to be dang near perfect. And I mean everybody has to be on the same page because again it is football. Crazy things happen, but at the end of the day it comes down to preparation. Everybody needs to lock in at practice, from scout team, water boys, team managers, coaches, everything up and down. Everybody has to be on the same page. It's kind of cliche to say, but it's the truth, especially when you're going up against a giant like Basha.
Yeah. Now, I know RJ Gorey and Matt Diablo might have something to say about them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
They'll
sure
be ready.
Yeah, they're excited about this. Mr. Morales, on your side, what's more important for South Point, to get the victory or just compete and keep it close?
Well, obviously they're going to go up there to try to win. And you mentioned Avalar and Gory and some of the other guys that they're looking at this as one of those games that they can make a statement. They can show how good they are individually, their skills against the top team. I mean, that's something that I'm sure like a game like that you would get really up for. You're not thinking about, oh, we're going to lose. And that's part of the coach's responsibility to get them the right frame of mind and make them understand the challenge, but how impressive it could be if they can rise up to that challenge. So that's a lot of like Bobby said, everybody has to be on the same page. They have to be ready, prepared as much as possible. So I think it's going to be, like I said before, I think it's going to be good for South Point to play a game like this. Yeah. Some people might be like, oh, but they're going to get blown out. It's on the schedule. They're a top 12 team in the state, So you got to play it and do the best you can. And I made a mistake here. Is they're playing Perry at home, then they play at Pinnacle.
Yeah.
So 3 games on the road this year at Red Mountain, at Basha, and at Pinnacle. That's a very tough schedule.
That can only help your program though. At the end of the day, I know that's rough schedule, but at the end of the day, I like it because you're as tough as your schedule, and
It
if
turns you into dogs.
It really does. So I like it. There's also 3 other Tucson kids on the other side with Basha, with Jake Rogers, Gabriel Diaz, and Christian Diaz. So it's gonna be fun to see those guys too. Those guys are juniors, and again, it'd be a reunion with a lot of those guys because a lot of them have played sevens together. They've trained together, so it'll be a little reunion.
And they have a background with Jet. Right?
Yep.
Just
So
Yeah. So what would this win mean for Southern Arizona, football? 'Cause that would be a statement win.
Oh, but just like Coach Nugent was talking about last week, Southern Arizona can compete in the 4A, 3A level because it's so smaller conferences. But to really show that Southern Arizona football is strong is if they can win in the 5A and 6A.
Yeah.
So if they were to go up there and upset Basha, that's huge. I mean, that's probably the biggest win that
Southern Arizona
Southern
history.
Arizona. So it's maybe a 5A team like Sunnyside was 5A
Yeah.
when they won the state championship in the early 2000s, and Marana could have done it last year, but they got in the open division. I know Nugent said more than once last year that they should have been in the 5A and not the open division. So it could have happened last year.
Yeah.
But if South Point goes up there and pulls off the upset, that's just tremendous for Southern Arizona.
Yeah, and I want to throw in a quote like Henzo Gracie say, "You want to be where the best are at, so you can. If you beat them, you're the best. You gotta go where they're at."
it's true. I mean, it's any sport.
Yeah.
So.
And speaking of Marana, I'm excited for this showdown because I'll throw it out there. When Sabian was covering Marana versus Buena, right? Yep. Coach Stewart said he has something special planned for Tucson High. I don't know what it is, but it's new. It's Chanes and Mesa versus Myers and Roblox. Talk about those 2 matchups. They're 2-headed monsters going at each other.
Yeah, well, you look at, Marana has a lot of weapons. Tucson High still trying to establish themselves after a slow start.
Yeah.
So I don't know what Coach Stewart has planned. I mean, they won 6 in a row, so maybe just planning to play the same way. I don't know, but they don't really need to change a lot because their offense is clicking. Their defense is one of the best in the state. They've got some big time players on the line, like we talked about before, with Utley and Elder, and it starts on the line. I know it's a cliche, but you're as good as your line in both offensive and defensive line, and they're stacked at both lines. Marana is. Tucson High too has some really good linemen, Romero, and then they have some good linebackers like Dro, and so it's one of those things like we talked about before in these matchups that a lot of strength versus strength going at it.
Yeah. And that's the question. Do you think Tucson High can compare with Marana's offense, which is incredible? They're averaging 40 points a game right now. And their defense is incredible too. So do you think they can match up with that?
Oh, Spivey. You
Yeah.
got Spivey against Roebuck. That's
That's going to be a fun one to
That's worth
watch.
the price of admission right there.
Yeah. So going back to that, you think they can compete with them?
I think Tucson High can compete with Marana. I think they learned a lot from last year's loss on how to defend Meyer. I think they can build off of that game last year. I don't know if you guys were there last year, but I was there. And it was just Desmond Roebuck was making some acrobatic catches.
Dude, we were there when it was like 3-on-1 versus Roebuck. Oh my goodness, he jumped so high. I was like,
yeah, he was bringing down one-handed catches, jumping high. And now look what he's doing at Washington.
Yeah, shout out Des balling out in the Big Ten. So
yeah, he is, man. You know, Bobby, we talked about these matchups. What's another matchup you're excited for? Because for someone we didn't mention is Jeffrey Smith, third, who had an astounding week last week, 210 yards and 2 TDs.
Yeah, he's a sophomore. He's a fast back. He can run between the tackles, and that allows Marana to pass the ball because if they can't run, they're gonna hit you with the pass, and we know what Colton Meyer can do with the ball when it's in his hands. So. Jeffrey Smith, he's a big part of their offense, but on top of that, it's their O-line too. So their O-line allows that to happen. So it'll be a fun game to watch if Tucson High can do their gap assignment and stop Jeffrey Smith from running. Then we could have something there. But I'm just excited because again, Derek Mesa, Noah Shawnez, they're gonna they're going to connect, and then
Yeah, Dominic Dro on defense
Dominic
was having
Dro.
an astounding year.
And then Sean, shout out Sean, man. He's one of my favorite guys out there. He's gonna ball out too. So it's gonna. I think we're gonna see a lot of points at the end of the day.
Yeah. And, like what you said last time you were on the show, at the end of the day, Southern Arizona's winning.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when you have all these top dogs going at it. It's like Southern Arizona football's back.
They just gotta continue to grow these programs. I know it's easier said than done, but these coaches are doing a good job. They're competing even at the lower levels. But at the end of the day, they're doing their thing in their program. So we'll love to see it.
And I want to ask you this: what's the biggest difference you've seen from Tucson High from the start to the finish where we're at right now? Because it is a complete 360. Main thing with them, they were starting slow. Now we've seen the last 2 weeks, they're starting fast and they're getting ready to go every single time.
Well, losing is contagious and winning is contagious. So that starts at practice. Again, when you start the season, I believe they started 1-2.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
1-2. A lot of teams are still figuring their guys out, placing guys in certain positions. Football is very tricky. You can think you have it, and then next thing you know, you don't have it, and you end up 1-2. But then you watch the film, you evaluate some things, you move some things around at practice. Next thing you know, you can win 3 in a row. I mean, look at Pueblo. They started out 0-3. Now they're on a 4-game winning streak. Possibly get another one this week with 5. So it's all about how they prepare, and at the end of the day, just moving your lineup and your roster around. So I think that's what Tucson High has done. They've done a good job so far. So let's see if they can keep that momentum going.
Yeah, and Mr. Morales, same question to you because you've been seeing Tucson High for the past 2 years, and you've seen them throughout this year. What's been the biggest difference for them? And then key players that have stepped up.
Noah Chanez. They were. You were at the. I think you were at the South Point Tucson game.
Shout out Noah. Shout out Noah.
That's one of the OGs, man.
Tucson had so much trouble running the ball, but they didn't use Noah as a running back.
Yeah, that's true.
And he's had two games over 200 yards. One of them 263, and they're using him a lot. I think in that 263-yard game, he had 38 carries.
Yeah, or 38 carries, 5 touchdowns.
So that shows you that how valuable he is to Tucson High and how they need him to play in that position. The kid takes some pressure off Mesa and open things up a little bit.
And one thing about Noah is he's used more as a scat H-back style, in bubble screens and things like that. But he can run between the tackles. Now, Marana, I know they're gonna hold their line and they're gonna say, do not let this guy run between the tackles. But Noah's built mentally and physically to do so. So he can pound if you want him to. It's just Marana has to be able to stop him. So that's going to be a key matchup right there because Noah's that type of kid. Like if you get like a Sean and Des Roebuck, if you get those guys momentum going, they'll just carry on.
Yeah,
So
they're hard to stop at that point.
Yeah, and a fun fact, really quick, one more thing about Noah. I did some research. He's 4th overall in all-purpose yards in the history of Tucson. So you have at number 1, you have Bijan, obviously, I believe the best player in the NFL right now.
Yeah.
Shout out Bijan. He's doing his thing.
Well, he's first in the running for MVP right now.
I mean, Monday Night Football, he just went off. So shout out Bijan. And after that, you have Kadeem, and then after that you have Cam Denson, and then you have Noah Chanez, who just passed Des Roebuck last week in all-purpose yards. So Noah's still he probably won't catch Kadeem and Bijan simply because those guys play more games because they had more playoff runs in their high school career. But Noah can finish 3rd all-time in Tucson with all-purpose.
Yeah. And that brings me to my point. I was like what you said. I was looking at all the stats. Where do you think he ranks amongst the all-time players in Tucson?
Well, that's not my. That
might be more Mr. Morales'
But
theory.
I will say this. For instance, Kadeem, Cam Denson, and Bijan, they led their teams to state titles. So state championships, that is. I know. Bijan, they came up a little short, but in 2013, Cam Denson, they won it at South Point, and then obviously at CDO, Kadeem, they won it too. So that holds a lot of weight.
Yeah, and Mr. Morales, I'll go with you for that question because you do a lot of the rankings and stuff for postseason awards. Where do you think Noah Chanez ranks all time in terms of high school players in Tucson?
If I would put a number on it, I would say that given that he's the 4th all-purpose, he would have to be in the top 20 at least. I think he's caught in a situation where Tucson High, when he started there as a freshman, the program was like a total 180. They had some unsettling situations with the head coach and just the program as a whole, and they even thought about transferring. So with a lot of the other guys now are seniors that are doing really well. So I think if he would have started out more in a stable position, they might have been building up to like a state championship level this year. But so that's not his fault. He actually stuck with it and rode out the
A lot of those
storm.
seniors at Tucson High, I think that's a big reason why Tucson High is competitive now, because that cohort of seniors right now, they've stuck together since they were freshmen,
Right.
and they've seen 2 coaches in 4 years.
Or
so.
3 coaches. Or no, because Zach's been there 3 years.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
So, I mean, they've stuck it out. I know they're really tight knit. So, like I said, it'll be an exciting matchup. It'll be a game of matchups, really. So, I'm excited to see a lot of points scored.
Yeah, and he can return the ball. He can return kickoffs and punts, right? He hasn't done too much of that because they've relied on him more as a running back lately. But he can do it all.
Yeah. No, I mean, I was at Jet when he was like 10 years old, and see what he is now, man. It's incredible.
No, it's cool because I've mentioned this before on shows prior. Is like Jeffrey Smith, Noah, Sean Roebuck. I remember them when, like, youngsters, like, and now they're little they're not even little monsters. They're monsters, and they're just balling out. It's fun to watch. I'd love to see it.
Yeah,
you
what
got throwing
impressed me too.
You got throwing RJ Gorey in there too.
Yeah,
and he's
RJ
only a
Gorey.
junior, right?
Yeah. So good stuff happening all around.
Well, what impressed me too about Noah is up here. He's smart. So when he's running the ball, he knows what to look for. It's just not all muscle and legs. It's up here. He
He's got
knows
football
what to
IQ,
do.
definitely.
Yeah. Oh, we saw it firsthand. There was one play when they were playing Walden Grove. He started on the left side of the sideline and ran all the way to the right side and still got a touchdown from it.
His threshold is very underrated too. He can play 4 quarters. A lot of kids can make big plays, Reggie Bush style, but they might be gassed out for the rest of the game. Noah has a great threshold where he can make big plays and do it the next series. So
A lot has to do because he trains at a great place, at Jet.
You said it, not me.
Yeah.
All right, now moving on to next segment. We got to talk about Desert View, man. The ranking that just came out.
DV, different thing.
They are ranked number 2 in 5A. Mr. Morales, what do you think about that?
Well, a lot like Noah with Desert View, Jay Lee with Noah with Tucson, Jay Lee with Desert View. Just that running game. If you have a solid running game mixed in with an effective passing game, you're going to win games with a good defense. And nobody talks about Desert View's defense.
Yeah.
But they're one of the best in the state in the 5A level.
And that's
the way
one
they've
of
been playing.
Yeah, so I want to get to that. But before that, Bobby, as a coach, when you're looking at Desert View, what's been making them so great other than the running game? Because we all know if you want to make a state championship, you got to be good everywhere.
I saw their game against Sunnyside, and I saw speed and violence. That's what I saw. I saw a lot of fast bodies moving around violently, and that's got them in the position to have them, I believe, 7-0 right now.
Yeah.
So Coach Bonillas and staff, they've been doing their thing, and then those kids are bought in too. That's another thing. They're a tight-knit group. They're bought in, and they have one thing on their mind right now. That's state championship.
Yeah, and their community is crazy too, man. I remember going to that game, and damn, that's been the most hyped-up crowd I've seen all year, other than probably the Pueblo game.
Mm-hmm.
But, the Pueblo game was crazy too because they had a huge crowd at Choya.
Yeah, the Warriors, they got the momentum going, and they got their community backing going. So that's good because that helps out the players and even the younger players coming up, JV freshmen, because they want to play in that the following year. So that's big. But yeah, back to Desert View, I see speed and I see violence on the football field on both sides of the ball. So that's been the key to success. And again, like Javier mentioned about Jay Lee with Noah, Jay Lee can run between the tackles, and when you're able to do that, that's how can I say, that plays a lot of mental warfare on the opposing team.
Yeah.
Where like, man, every play these guys are on my head, and they're gaining positive yards, and then that opens up their pass game too, which don't sleep on that either. So
Yeah, I mean, Ryan, their quarterback's had an outstanding year so far, too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's a dual threat. It's kind of like similar to Miranda and Tucson High when we were talking about it. They got a great quarterback, and they got a great running back, too.
shout out Ryan. I've known him since he was a baby too, so it's great to see.
Yeah.
And he's another football IQ guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mr. Morales, you said it best. We're not talking about Desert View's defense enough. Where do you think they rank in Southern Arizona defenses?
I think they're efficient, and they're like you said, they're very aggressive, violent. Salgado, I've known since he's been at Gallego. He's came up through the I think the Rams. I hope I don't get in trouble with that.
the
But yeah,
Rams.
he's a heck of an athlete, good size as a defensive end, and he means a lot to that defense just as a leader. He's only a junior, also a lot of young talent there.
Yep.
Their DBs are very active. I think they just got a linebacker from Catalina Foothills, McKinstry. Greg McKinstry's son, who's really a talent. I think he's going to be a D1 prospect by the time he's a senior. So they do have some really good talent. So I've filled a question about you, but I've got a lot. I got a text today, and I've got questions. Is Desert View really that good? So they have this kind of I don't know. People have this thought about Desert View not being a good team because they haven't been this good in a long time.
And I believe the same questions were spiraling around last year with Marana.
Right.
And they had that chip on their shoulder.
Right.
And they had their rival party many times. And, they got stuck in that open, but it is what it is. But now people know who Marana is. And I think Desert View's kind of on that same wave.
I think was it 2021? They started 6-0, and then they played South Point at home.
Mm-hmm.
And South Point won like 49-0. So I think that might be playing in people's heads. Like they thought they were good then, but then they got blown out by South Point. So how good are they? I think this team's different. I think it has more talent.
This team's very different because, like you mentioned with Salgado, that cohort of kids, they've all played with each other and gone to school with each other. And going back to, you mentioned about South Point's schedule against Basha and all that stuff, that plays a big factor because these kids have known each other well over 10 years, some of them, and they're like brothers at the end of the day. So I think that's the difference between this Desert View team compared to the last one that went to the playoffs. So so this is going to be fun to watch for the next couple of years.
Yeah. So now the question is, you look at Marana, you look at Desert View, which team has had the tougher schedule?
Well, Marana has played South Point, and they almost beat South Point. So it's hard to say, but I think that game puts Marana probably a little bit above Desert View overall.
So I'm going to throw a hard one at you, Mr. Morales. Do you think they have it right with the rankings right now? Because right now they have Desert View 2, Marana 6.
I do. I think we talked about it last week. We said Marana's right there and Desert View, they're top 2. I think given that Desert View's 7-0, and I think their closest game was against Sunnyside. Right. They've won each game by at least 3 touchdowns. Yeah. So it hasn't been like a 7-0 record with a 3-point win here and a 6-point win. They've been all blowouts.
Selfishly, I hope the AIA, when it's playoff time, doesn't put Marana and Desert View on the same side of the bracket. Hopefully, they're on the opposite side of the bracket. Right. So, I mean, potentially it has a 5-2-0 state championship. Yeah. Because
in
I remember
5A, that's a big
5A,
one. 5A,
especially because I remember a couple years back, I believe it was 2023. It was CDO versus Micah. I'm not sure if it was the quarters or the semis.
It was a semis.
It could have been it easily could have been a state championship game. Yeah. So I think AIA dropped the ball on that one, and they should have put them on opposite sides of the bracket. So when these brackets come out, have my fingers crossed that both Marana and Desert View are on opposite sides.
Well, if they both in the top 8, they get buys the first round.
Okay.
So that means that they wouldn't play each other at least in the quarterfinal round.
There you go.
So if anything, it would be in the semifinals.
It would be in the semifinal because if they were in the same bracket in the quarterfinals, the winner of that game would play each other. So let's hope that they're on the different bracket in the quarterfinals.
Yeah.
Right now they would be on the same side then, right? If they're 2-6.
Yeah, no, they're 2-7.
2-7.
I don't know how. To be honest with you, I'm not sure how the bracket lines up, but they wouldn't play each other until at least the quarterfinals.
Yeah.
Or no, I'm sorry, beyond the quarterfinals, semifinals.
Yeah. Let's try to avoid that.
Yeah, like I said, that'd be a great matchup, and I mean that would be a dream come true.
You would have 2 years in a row 4A championship and then a 5A, and you could have had a 5A last year from Marana played in the 5A.
Yeah, I mean that's a matchup I've been hyping up since week 2. Yep. Like I would love to see these two guys go at it because they're very similar, great defenses and two-headed monsters on offense.
Facts. So shout out Marana and DV. Keep doing your thing.
Yeah, keep doing your thing. Like we talked about, Marana plays 2 side. Desert View will play CDO. Don't want to go too much because I think Desert View has that pretty good going into this week.
Yeah, it's on the road. It's up there, but I think Desview's like the mindset is different. Not only have they talent, I think their mindset is a lot different than what they've had in the past.
Yeah.
Like they're gonna take care of business. That's what I get. That's what I
Yeah,
feel.
no,
Look at their final scores, like I said.
Yeah, and Bobby, you said it best. They're playing with a chip on their shoulder because they're still 7-0 now,
Mm-hmm.
and still people are doubting them.
School record.
Yeah.
I like that. Good. I'd say good. Just keep. I wouldn't even say my message to Desert View, everybody at Desert View, from players to parents. Just keep doing your thing. Don't let that outside noise affect what you guys got going on. You guys know what you guys have going on. Same thing with Marana. You guys know the type of caliber of program you guys are. Keep doing your thing. I wouldn't even say keep proving them wrong. Just keep proving yourself right week by week, play by play.
Yep. And then, Ms. Morales, the last part of this segment, I want to ask you this. If Desert View pulls this off, they win the state championship, they go, I think it would be 12-0.
Mm-hmm.
Where does this rank in all-time seasons in Southern Arizona?
I think it would rank right up there because nobody talked about Desert View before the year, right? I mean,
Yeah.
we knew that they're going to be good because of the young talent they had. The freshman team went unbeaten last year with all blowouts, and all those guys came back. They didn't go to transfer to a different program. So, but still, we didn't think they'd be this good. We didn't think they would run the table and be undefeated and win the championship. So I think that they would be right up there with the greatest champions that ever come out here.
Yeah, I'm right there with that.
Yeah.
And Bobby, what do you think?
I mean, it's tough to say. It's controversial to say who's the best
Yeah.
because sometimes the best teams don't even win the state title. So it is what it is. But at the end of the day, they got to finish out the season. They got to win game one of the playoffs. At the end of the day, I'm not sure if has Desert View ever won a playoff game yet.
They did win one.
Oh, they won one 2021 or 2022.
One of the last two times that they've been really good, they did win their first round,
Right.
And then they lost in the second.
I will say this. I believe that Marana's on to something out there. For instance, I'm going to give a story that I know personally is in 2000, Sunnyside came up as the runner-up in the state championship, and then that kind of created the dynasty of the state championship runs.
Mm-hmm.
Marana could have something going on similar. I know they got an early exit with the 6A Open
Hamilton.
deal last year.
Yeah.
But I think they got something going on, and Desert View can also take a page out of that book from Sunnyside, 20 plus years ago, and say, hey, this could be the start of something really big on the south side again. So,
Yep.
Yeah.
No, either
something
way.
to look at.
Either way, I'll keep going back to this. Southern Arizona football is winning. The whole community is winning with seeing all these great players and these great teams.
And not to mention, let's not forget what Micah's done in their short time in 4A too, because again, that momentum started back when they lost in the semis to CDO in 2023, and they reloaded and then came back last year and they won it.
Yeah, definitely.
Desert View did win a playoff game in 21.
Okay.
That was the one that they won.
But they haven't won a state championship yet, right?
Oh no.
No.
Yeah.
They haven't reached the semis ever in school history.
Right.
Oh shoot. Hey, so it looks like this, or just thinking about team history, this might be the best team they've ever put out.
Yeah, and they're very sophomore, junior heavy right now, so it could be the same conversation next year
Just like you're saying, it could be started something great.
for sure.
Yeah. Now moving on to someone that's creating something great. I've done a lot of interviews, but probably one of my favorite ones has been with Coach Sly Lewis. I asked him the question about the Pueblo community. He said he's home. This is home for him.
Mm-hmm.
I think you had a chance to go in the locker room with them,
Yep.
correct? Tell us about what the locker room was like after that win.
It was amazing. I didn't know there was a trophy for the Pueblo versus
Yeah.
Troy game. The battle for I-19 is what the trophy is called. They claimed that. They won it. I believe it's the second year in a row. But Coach Sly, he's a player's coach at the end of the day. There's different types of coaches and styles, obviously, and Sly fits a perfect style for Pueblo right now. And he's doing his thing. Those kids are bought in. They're having fun. They're flying around the football field. They're on a 4-game winning streak. And I haven't been in a locker room in quite a long time. And if you play football, you know what I'm talking about, that smell, that stench, that sneaky smell. So that was the first thing that hit my head. Like, whoa, this smells like a football locker room. But then the music was blasting. He said his message to the team. And, they danced around a little bit. But it's back to business for Pueblo. I know Coach Sly. I've known him since he coached against me when he was at Sabino, and he's got short-term memory where, hey, yeah, we beat Choya Friday night, but that's in the past. Let's move on to Rio Rico now, and I believe they're going to do their thing.
Yeah, and 3 home games to finish the year. They'll play Rio Rico, Saudi, then Empire.
Right.
More likely they're going to finish out and they're going to win these 3 games, Mr. Morales. But is this strong enough to get them to where they need to get, being ranked 29th in the state right now?
Yeah, I wanted to see where they were ranked in 29th. It's going to be hard for them to move up with the opponents that they're playing. I don't know. I don't think any of the opponents they're playing in the rest of the schedule are ranked higher than them, right?
No, they're not.
So it's going to be hard for them to move up. But like you talked about earlier, going 7-3 in the second year when the program's been kind of like in disarray the last couple of years.
They only won 2 games last year.
Yeah, I think that this is a great indicator that Sly Lewis is turning things around, just like we've seen at some other programs. Paul Verdi's turning things around. They didn't even have a varsity team in 21.
Yep.
Yeah, and now look at them. They can have their first winning season in 16 years.
Yeah.
So it's good to see these kind of stories in the TSD schools that we've been critical of that are starting to compete.
One thing that's helped Pueblo, I know, with the morale of the team is that new turf. Sabino got theirs and Pueblo got theirs, and I believe there's 2 more. I think it's Choya.
Yeah, Choya's next year and Saguaro.
So those are going to be big program lifters too for their communities. So again, just all good stuff happening around here, and I love seeing it week by week.
Yeah, the cool thing about that whole game was they're up by 35 pretty quickly. I mean, the last quarter was a running clock, so it went by pretty quick. But Sly Lewis is still yelling at his guys, it's not over, it's not over. Still do things right. Bobby, you're a coach. Why is it so important for a coach to do that?
You can't stop coaching at the end of the day. He knows that there's guys that need to get work in, so he can't coach those guys lightly. When you're up that big, you get your 2s and 3s in there, and you can't coach them lightly. So basically it's 0-0 when your 2s and 3s go in there. So that's why Sly was still coaching like it's 0-0 and nothing has happened. So that's a sign of a good coach. If you look at any good coach, it doesn't matter what the score is. They can't stop coaching until the clock hits 0. So that's Coach Sly's style, and he's been there. He's been in the state championship games with Sabino, so he knows what it takes, and he understands when you play games like that, when you're up big, you got to get those 2s, 3s, and even 4s in there. So you can't coach them lightly.
Yeah. And Mr. Morales, what's been the crazy thing about Pueblo is they have a great quarterback, and we haven't talked about it enough. So go in a little depth about Roman Otero.
Well, look, you guys were there, right?
Yeah.
Look what he did last week. He had only 5 completions, but he passed only 8 times. But 4 of the 5 were touchdowns.
Yeah.
And he passed for 185 yards. So that's about as efficient as you can be, right? I know Choi is struggling right now, but those are numbers of a guy that's making the most of what he has, and he's only getting better. He's only a junior, right?
Yeah.
From what I understand. So, and he was one of my players to watch last week. So
yeah, and you got our player of the game, so that makes I think we're week 9.
And
so
Justin Elder too. So
yeah, you're 7 for 9 for the year so far. So
but I mean, and we haven't really talked about a Pueblo quarterback since when? When's the last time Pueblo had a really good quarterback?
A couple years ago, they had that quarterback that went to he went to Pima College for a little bit. He played basketball as well.
Okay.
I can't remember his name, but yes, they did have. That was back in 17, though.
But see what Sly Lewis is doing? He's bringing that Sabino mindset, that Sabino offense, and he's bringing it to Pueblo. It was hard for him to do it in 1 year, the first year last year.
And he didn't get a full offseason. I believe he was hired in March, so
right.
he didn't get a full offseason with his guys. So now he got his full offseason, and those families and those players have bought in, and it's good to see.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I said, he's changing things up, and the best thing about it is the kids are buying in, and that's number one. When you're a brand new coach, they got to buy in too.
And one thing, my last thing on Pueblo is you got to give credit where credit's due. They started off 0-3, so I believe they lost to Sunnyside. Help me out. They went up Yonker.
Or no, the first one was
Yonker, Sunnyside. Basically, they started 0-3,
and they're all on the road.
And they're on the road. So
And
Douglas. So to get your team back up. From a 0-3 start, that's all about coaching. So shout out to his coaching staff. I know he has Will Ray Fontenot helping him out there too, and he's one of my good friends, and great U of A legend. Played with Antoine Case, and he knows what it takes. So Pueblo, I got to give credit to that staff. They've done their thing after starting 0-3. Again, 4-game winning streak, possibly going to be 5.
Yeah. Now going into that 4 division, there's a game that's going to be at the end of the year, Saguaro versus Micah Mountain.
Mm-hmm.
There are two teams that, we saw Micah Mountain coming.
Right.
I didn't see Saguaro coming. Mr. Morales, what's been making them so great? I think if I have it right, they're ranked...
Six.
They're ranked 6th in the state. I don't
They're
remember
the highest. They're the highest rated team ranked. 4A, 5A, 6A other than Desert View.
That's crazy to
It's
think
Desert
about.
View's too. Yeah, Saguaro. Nobody thought Saguaro would be ranked number 6, and I've had a couple people message me like, how are they ranked 6 and Walden Grove's 22 and Walden Grove beat them? It's because they played Desert View.
Yeah.
They're a 4A team. Desert View's a 5A team. Now, they got blown out by Desert View, so I can see them getting a boost from playing Desert View, but they shouldn't get too much of a boost because they got blown out by Desert View. But I think the way that the point system works is if you play a team, you get so many points no matter what. So that's the reason why.
Yeah.
As they go on and they play in their region, which they do play Micah Mountain, which is number 9.
So
right?
they'll go Douglas, Amphi, then Micah Mountain.
And Douglas is 25th, so Amphi is one of those teams that's struggling that could bring them down when they play them, the power ratings. But I can see them, since they're playing Micah Mountain and Douglas, who are in the top 25, then they might stay in the top, 16.
Yeah.
And it's 24 teams now that go to the playoffs in 5A. So,
do you
they're
think,
in a good spot.
Yeah, do you think they're a legit number 6 right now?
I think they're a legit playoff team. I don't know about number 6. I think their running game is very strong. They can dictate things with that.
There's 3 weeks left.
3 weeks
A
left.
lot can happen in 3 weeks. You can go from a 6 to almost not ranked, or you can go from 6 to even more ranked. So a lot can happen.
I think the fact that they're playing Micah Mountain though and Douglas 2 out of the 3 last games. Is it 3 games they have left?
They have 3 games left: Amphi, Douglas, and then Micah Mountain.
I think that playing those 2 will help them,
Right.
but Amphi, who knows how much? You're right. Who knows how much playing Amphi will hurt them?
And again, like Sly, Coach Al at Saguaro has that great pedigree as an assistant coach at Sabino. I'm sorry, at South Point for all those years, and he's created his own style at Saguaro. And again, those guys prepare too in the off season. So it's maybe a surprise for people who haven't heard of these teams, but it's no surprise when you know who's behind the coaching staff.
Yeah. And then, we talk about the coaching staff at Micah Mountain. It's one of your mentors, Richard Sanchez. They got 3 games left to finish out. What's something that he's telling them? Because these 2 games are almost trap games. You go Amphi, Catalina Foothills, not the strongest teams, and you're kind of overlooking them because you want to get that to that Saguaro game. What do you think he's telling the message to that locker room?
Well, Coach Jay Campos and staff and Coach Richard Sanchez, they're going all about practice. They have to execute in practice, and then it's play by play once they get under the lights on Fridays. But again, winning is contagious, momentum is contagious. So they're just gonna get momentum going because, again, it's a sports. You can get hot the last 2 weeks, last 3 weeks, and then run and make a playoff run. So crazy things can happen. So I know they lost a lot of guys. They reloaded this year, but again, they just got to create some momentum going into the playoffs.
Yeah, and I think they're gonna do it. I think they have a great chance of winning out. But one team that kind of took a seat back a little bit was Flowing Wells. Mr. Morales, you called this. What really happened in this game? I wasn't able to attend it. So what really happened? Was it Flowing Wells just having a bad day, or was it the first time Flowing Wells kind of got exposed?
I think Flowing Wells had a bad day. I really like Jaden Simmons. That he's a beast. He had almost 200 yards rushing, even though they lost. And we've talked before. Mountain View has a good defense.
Yeah.
And they had a blocked field goal that was returned for a touchdown. They had some turnovers deep in their own territory. So they had a lot of things go wrong. I think Matt Johnson, the Mountain View coach, said that everything went right for Mountain View and everything went wrong for Flowing Wells. So so it was one of those things. But I think Mountain View clearly was a better team on that night. The way they played, especially on defense, the way they really they made Flowing Wells one-dimensional. Ruiz really didn't get a chance to do much. They didn't pass the ball at all, really. So I was impressed with the way Mountain View was prepared and ready to play that game.
Yeah.
So
you think that was the first time we kind of saw it all come together for Mountain View because they've had an up and down season up to this point.
They've had a lot, like Coach Johnson told me, they made a lot of mistakes, a lot of penalties, turnovers, and they didn't didn't do either one against Flowing Wells. So if they play like that, they have a chance. They do play Marana next week in the boot battle over the boot.
Oh, that's always a
gonna
great one.
Yeah.
Be at Mountain View. They Mountain View upset Marana 2 years ago there,
Yep.
so they can beat them.
The best thing about that is the first time I ever did interviews with Marana, the number one game they said they were looking forward was for the boot.
Right.
That's the one that gets hyped up like crazy
deal.
for them.
It's
It's
a
a
big
pre-game preview right there. Or
Yeah, and I'm sure they're still
or
thinking about that loss.
Yeah.
Even though
they
they
are.
blew out Marana or Mountain View last year at home, I'm sure there's some are still thinking about that loss 2 years ago over there.
Yeah, and it's a rivalry game. Anything can happen.
Oh yeah, and it's out Mountain View. Their last game, I think it's a senior game.
Yeah.
So yeah.
You know, Bobby, you've been in situations where you're a great team and some stuff goes south. What do you think the keys that Flowing Wells need to focus on moving on to next week? Because they've been great 6 weeks in a row. They had one setback, but they got to pick up their boots and get right to the next one.
So it's a test of the armor. I mean, what do you do and how do you respond after you're being kicked in the mouth? So again, their coach just has to tell them, hey, that is what it is. It's football. Let's stack up some good practices this week and let's reload and let's forget about that loss. They won, I believe, 6 games prior to that?
6 games in a row.
6 games prior to that. So there's evidence that they can win. Now it's just, hey, let's lick our wounds and let's get back to work. So that's the message. Just like any sport, but again, I'm going back off of Coach Sly. I mean, he did it 0-3.
Yeah.
I mean, Flowing Wells, they lost 1, so they can just say, hey, that's just 1 L. I mean, look at Marana. They lost the first game. I think it's the most, to this day, it's probably the most hyped up game we've had this season, week 1, and then they've ran the table since. So it's a loss, Flowing Wells. You guys will be all right. Bounce back. Have a good week of practice, prepare well, and get after it on Friday.
Yeah, sometimes it's better. I mean, it's a wake-up call sometimes. It makes you play better because all of a sudden you get exposed and you're like, that's what I need to fix going into the rest of the year.
Facts.
Yep. You know, and Flowing Wells won't have an easy task. They'll go against Cienega. Cienega's coming up. They're alive now. You've been calling it all year that they're a playoff team. They dominate against Sunnyside. Talk a little bit about that matchup going in.
Yeah, that's gonna be another good game. Cienega at Flowing Wells. So Julian Hanley is their quarterback. He's throwing for a lot of yards. He's a smaller guy. He's not very big, but he's got a strong arm. And Jaden Rogers is already D1. Their right receiver. He's already committed to Idaho State, so he's a D1 player. They have some great defensive players like Davion Ross, a linebacker. Andre Davis Lopez is a defensive end who's really he's solid. He's got I think he's got almost 15 sacks, and he had a lot of sacks last year.
Yep.
So
Cienega's going to come prepared at the end of the day. It's
Hargraves does it. Yeah.
Hargraves is going to have those guys prepared at all times.
Yeah, you know, looking at this matchup, who's going to come up on top on this, Mr. Morales?
I think since it's at Flowing Wells and they're coming off that loss, and I'm sure watching that film this week, they're probably looking at it shaking their heads, how did we let that happen? There was a lot of mistakes. They made a lot of mistakes. Mountain View deserves credit for that win, but Flowing Wells could have played a whole lot better than what they played like, and I think they know that. And I think coming home, they've been on the road the last couple weeks, so coming home, I think playing Cienega at home. If it was at Cienega, maybe a different story, but I think at home, and they have something to prove, and they have a tremendous running back, Jaden Simmons, who's going to be hard to handle.
You know, you talked about you've heard stuff from the community. Our team's that good. What have you heard about Flowing Wells? Because I can see it where a lot of people would have been like, "Yeah, that's the real Flowing Wells we've been waiting for."
Yeah, that was the thought too during the game. I got a couple texts about so Flowing Wells isn't ready. Yeah, they aren't. They showed that they weren't ready for the big time right there, losing by that amount. It was a running clock, right at the beginning of the third quarter.
What was the final score?
47-14. Yeah. So it was tough. Not great conditions to start off with the rain, but that's no excuse. It was just not their game, and they might not have been ready. They might have been we're 7-0 or
6-0.
6-0, first time in 10 years. Or they might not have been ready to think that they're that good.
Yeah, but like Bobby was talking too, sometimes these things are wake up calls.
Right.
Yeah. Bobby, when you look at Flowing Wells, do you think they're going to come out with the chip on the shoulder, ready to go for this one?
Definitely, it's a bounce back game for them, but also I know Coach Hargraves, and he's not gonna
He's not gonna make it easy.
No, he's not gonna make it easy for them. So I know Julian, the quarterback at Cienega, he's gonna come prepared. He's gonna be ready, and he's gonna be ready to do whatever it takes to win because that's just the type of character he has. So again, this is gonna be a fun one. Let's see what Flowing Walls what they're made out of after the loss, and let's see if Cienega can keep the momentum going.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Now going on to the next segment, Player Spotlight. Mr. Morales, you always put out that honorable chart every week on your website. Who were some of the most outstanding players of last week? What stats stuck out to you the best?
Well, Jeffrey Smith is the player of the week. The way he was able to do a lot. He had 7 tackles, had over 200 yards rushing. He's their top tackler at Marana, even though he's one of their top offensive players.
Yeah. Which falls in great to this. Do you think he's one of the best two-way players in the game right now?
I think so. Yeah, that's the way he's been able to produce on both ends. Let's see. There was who else had a great week? There was quite a few. There was quite a few that had some tremendous games. I know that Noah had a 222-yard game, another tremendous performance. Quite a few. Jaden Simmons had 190 yards rushing, even though they lost. He was running as hard in the fourth quarter as he did in the first quarter.
Right.
He didn't take being down that much.
Right.
It didn't get to him.
Right.
He was just running as hard as ever. So I thought that was impressive.
Awesome. And then, Bob, I know you caught a couple games last week. So who were some of the players that stuck out for you?
I'm going to continue with what I know and what I saw. I mean, the entire Pueblo team. I know, like Javier said, Choya is struggling a little bit, but the fact that Pueblo came out as a team, and really had that team win, that was very impressive. I can sit here and talk about each player one by one, but that was my standout because, again, I was there in the flesh. I didn't see anything else other than stats that I read the next morning. But Pueblo they did their thing, and again, they're on the come up. So it's fun to watch, and they're, again, back to the momentum. They're building that. So that was my spotlight team right there. So
yeah. And one thing I do want to say about Choya, because we saw that game last year, and the atmosphere of the sidelines for Choya, their coach over there is still doing a great job.
Right.
It's a different atmosphere. They're different kind of guys. Even though they were down, man, they were still staying as positive as they could.
They're going to be okay. I know the principal. He was an assistant coach for me at Sunnyside, Cesar Miranda, and he's going to get it right. They're getting their new turf. They're gonna be okay at Troy. It's just growing pains. First year coach. It is what it is. And what I liked about it is that Coach Sly was, even though they're rivals, Coach Sly took the time to speak to their first year coach and just give them some game on what it takes. And don't worry, keep your head up. And Coach Sly knows they need this rivalry to stay alive and competitive for years to come.
Yeah, and it's a recruiting thing too. Like a lot of time, like what the Troy coach said last week, this game brings you more players.
Facts.
Yep.
Well, I think he's in the same position Sly was last year, right?
Exactly.
He's a first-year guy. I think the players want to play for him. He's got that kind of demeanor with them.
Yep.
He's got there's mutual respect there. I think he's going to continue to build there, and they have the turf field.
Yep, I
next
agree.
year, like you said. So I think you'll see a lot of what's happening at Pueblo happen at Choya next year.
Yeah.
And to the spotlight athletes like Noah Shawnez and Jeffrey Smith, and if anybody watching at home, whether they're parents or players, it's important that you guys play 4 quarters, because if you go look at Jeffrey's film and Noah's film, they play 4 quarters of football. They don't take plays off. They don't take quarters off. They don't play in phases. They play 4 quarters. So that's a testament to their parents too. So they have great parents at home, and that's a character thing. Like you're saying about Jaden Simmons, I know his dad too. Those are committed parents, and whether you're up 40 or down 40, you're gonna run the ball hard, because that starts at home. Yeah. So that's a character thing.
Jay Lee Abraham too. He had a big game too.
Jay Lee plays 4 quarters. Desiree Lewis plays 4 quarters. So that's important.
Yeah, gotta be great. You gotta be out there for your team the whole time. And what you said, it's mentality. Just don't give anyone anything. Don't give up, and just keep being out there and be on the field.
Facts.
Yeah, Mr. Morales, bringing about this. It's been the year of the run. Like we said, been a year of the matchups, 1-on-1, quarterback and running back. But there's 3 running backs that stick out to me right now. You got Jay Lee Abraham, Noah Chavez, and Jeffrey Smith from last week. If you look at all their seasons, who's had the best season as a running back?
Oh my God, you're gonna put me on the spot.
Yeah, put you on the spot. That's what we're here for.
Oh, okay.
And then we got to throw in there. One thing I forgot in my notes, got to throw in Lujan in there as well.
Yeah.
Lujan and Simmons.
Yeah, and Simmons
too. Yeah, I think given just the overall impact, I would say Jay Lee Abraham. He's had the most impact to make his team be as good as they are. Without him, I don't know how good Desavue would be, to be honest with you. They would still be good, but they would not be number 2 in the state.
Yeah.
His presence means a lot to them.
Yeah.
Because he's been around. He's been around with youth football. He's been around these guys. They look at him almost like another coach out there because the players gravitate to him. They highly respect him because I've been around him and some of the players there, and I just think he has the skill and the talent on top of all that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of kids who've been around, we got the semifinals for the youth football coming
Yes,
up.
we can go into that real quick too.
So that's gonna be big because if you have the time, if you're a Southern Arizona football fan, check out those games this weekend because those are the welcome arriving parties for a lot of these players.
Mm-hmm.
So you're gonna see them for the years to come. So that's one of my favorite. This is one of my favorite times of year. So
Yeah, is there a game that people should definitely look out for?
I haven't really checked out the bracket personally, but I know they're fun to watch and it's gonna be fun. Not this Saturday, but the following Saturday will be championship Saturday for youth football.
And I like what you did. You threw out the schedule for the Pee Wee football as well. So we'll make sure we get the schedule out for you guys this week so you guys can check it out.
Yep.
Cool. Going into the next one, Mr. Morales, what other games should people, the fans, look forward to this week?
We talked about Marana Tucson, Flowing Wells, Cienega, right?
Mm-hmm.
South Point Basha.
I know Push Ridge has been doing their thing.
Oh yeah,
Push Ridge is they play on the road, right? They play Safford,
I
which
get
is
that.
a winnable game. Yeah, we don't talk much about Push Ridge.
Yeah,
They're
Push Ridge.
7-1.
Push Ridge. They're doing their thing, and again, talk about running the ball. That I know they run the ball. They play good defense. So
Yeah, they don't have any weaknesses.
yeah. I mean, they got a 2-quarterback system that's working for them right
I
now.
think one of their quarterbacks got hurt, but they had 2 quarterbacks, so they were prepared for that.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm actually gonna go to the Palo Verde game, the Palo Verde Bisbee game.
Okay.
It's not a marquee not a marquee game, but Palo Verde, if they win, they have their first winning season since 2009.
Yeah. Oh dang.
Yeah, when they went deep in the playoffs with who was their coach in 2000? Was
Mayfield?
it Mayfield?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's when like Santa Rita and Palo Verde were like the best teams. Now they've been 2 of the most struggling. Although Palo Verde, shout out to Jamal Chapman, the way he's been able to turn things around there.
Yeah.
So I think that's one of those games that is way under the radar, but it's such an achievement to if they win that game, they should. But you never know. Look what happened to Flowing Wells last week.
Yeah.
That's a huge accomplishment given that they didn't have a varsity team 4 years ago.
Sure.
So
What do you think's been the keys for that coach changing that culture? Because like we've been talking about the whole time. First thing, like if you want to make change, first thing you got to do is have a good coach.
I think the fact, and I think it was it. I think we talked about this a couple weeks ago. Is that you keep the coach there.
Yeah.
Jamal Chapman's he was there when they played the JV schedule that year in 2021, right after the COVID year.
Yeah.
And he was given the time to set his culture in there. He's got the same assistant coaches, which we talked last week with Nugent, that's huge. That familiarity with the staff means a lot, not only to the coaches, but the players.
Yep.
And I think he's one of those coaches, kind of like, in a way, like Sly Lewis or or Al Alexander, that players will play their hardest for them. The way he coaches, he gets on them, he challenges them, but he respects them. So I think that, and it's just he has some good talent. I mean, Cameron Pippin. I know you're gonna get to the player to watch.
Yeah.
He's if you look at his stats, he's doing everything there. The running back.
Yeah.
He plays on the defense. He's a linebacker, running back, and he's getting a lot of yards. So he's a heck of an athlete. He's one of the better guards in basketball. He's one of the better guards in the state at that level. So
And they made a good run too, right?
yeah,
Basketball.
they went to the championship game. They lost to Push Ridge. Yeah.
So I'm sure a lot of those athletes are football players.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's incredible. Like again, Southern Arizona football growing back up, becoming a powerhouse. Like we all hoped it would be one day.
Right.
One thing I want to shout out Push Ridge again because after their loss, they've only allowed 1 touchdown each game.
They're monsters.
Yeah, their
They're for
defense
real.
woke up and
They're for real.
yeah, they're for real, and I think they're a contender to do it again
Mm-hmm.
for sure. I know they lost against Datcher, but they lost against a team they beat in the state championships last year as well. Not only lost, they got blown out. But when they got to the championships, they were ready to go. So do not forget about Fisher Ridge. Like I said, it could be a year where we get 3 state championships in Southern Arizona.
Let's go.
Yeah, they lost to Thatcher a couple weeks ago.
Yeah,
but that's
2
when
weeks ago.
That's when the game where one of their quarterbacks got hurt. So mentally, how does that affect the team? So and it was at Thatcher. It was at Eastern Arizona College, which is never easy. That drive over there is not easy, and playing there isn't easy.
Yeah.
So
It was pouring. That was one of the games that was pouring too, wasn't it?
I don't think there was good weather. Yeah. But I don't mean it. What about Tanque Verde? Nobody's talked about them either.
Yeah.
They won 4 or 5 in a row. They're 7-2.
Yep.
Something like that.
And they're ranked.
They're
So,
ranked. Yeah.
They're 10th in 3A,
2A.
2A.
Yeah. So there's a lot of these teams that we
Even-
talk about. All these other teams that
Santa Cruz
kind of in the
Valley too.
background.
Santa Cruz
Yeah.
Valley. Douglas is even in the mix.
Douglas is the top,
Yeah.
is top 25, which is
St. Davis
accomplishment.
too. I know they're 1A,
Oh,
but
St. David's always there.
yeah.
So,
But-
but yeah, Tanque Verde, Paula Verde, those teams that we don't really talk about that much. They're having great seasons.
They're doing things, and that way we do give them the spotlight they do deserve. Who's been some players from them that we need to mention so they get their time of fame and know that they're getting shout out as well?
From
Paulo Verde and Tanque Verde,
Cameron Pippin.
and then
They have a defensive end named Isaac. I'm going to butcher his name. Nadit Imana. He's from Nigeria. He started playing football when he started at Paul Verde and freshman. Now he's throwing up some huge numbers. He's a guy that could be a huge story in college if he decides to continue playing in college. The way he's really improved, he's a huge talent for them. And then for Tanque Verde, Rocco Haggard, he's been really good. He's a big time safety. He's like 6'4", 210 pounds as a safety. That's who you see at the big schools.
Right.
And he plays that. He also plays quarterback. So Cooper Payne, another guy who transferred in, he came from Desert Christian. He was one of their top players last year when they started out the program. He transferred to Tanque Verde, and he's putting up some monster numbers as a running back and as a DB. As a wide receiver and a DB. So they have some talent also.
yeah, we see you guys, man. Keep doing your
Yeah.
thing. You know, going into this week, some teams are under pressure. If our rankings first came out, in your guys' opinion, who has the most pressure on having to have a win today to continue their playoff runs?
I would say those teams that if your rank starts with a 20, you know what I mean?
Yes.
You're feeling a little heat this week. And if you're in the high teens, same thing. But then again, if you're a rank like say Marana or Desert View, the heat's still on you as well because again you don't want to fall off the wagon. So again, I think if you're ranked by any means or if you're outside looking in, I mean you gotta have a sense of urgency come Friday night. Matter of fact, you gotta have a sense of urgency all through the week. So I mean to say, hey, this is a must win, I feel like every football coach is going to tell you, hey, it's a must-win. Doesn't matter who you're playing. So, but again, it's a little bit added pressure if you're in the high teens or if your rank starts with 20-something.
Yeah, like you said, you can be at 6 and fall off really quickly. Yeah, and then Mr. Morales, who's carrying the most momentum going into this week?
Most momentum.
Yeah.
I
know I'm putting you on the spot this one,
well, we talked about it before. Desert View, Tanque Verde, all these teams that have longer winning streaks. Marana, those are teams that have been winning, putting a lot of strings of wins together. But to answer the question you asked, Bobby, there's 8 teams right now. If this season ended, there'd be 8 teams from Southern Arizona in the 5A playoffs.
Oh, shoot. Do you know when the last time that's happened?
Well, with it being 24 teams this year, that kind of helps out because there's Cienega's 23, Maricopa's 21, Sunnyside's 20.
Yeah.
And Mountain View's 18, Buena's 17. So if it was only 16 like the past years, those teams wouldn't get in.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of surprised that Buena's that low at 17,
given
who they played.
Yeah, they had a tough schedule, and you called it from the very beginning, and that's a gauntlet. They're 5-week gauntlet going through everyone.
Yeah,
Especially Mountain View, having Mountain View Mason Mountain View go to them. So
Right.
it's a tough one.
And they played, I think it was it ALA Gilbert North they played?
Yeah, they played them. Only lost by 2.
Well, they got blown out in both
They got
games.
blown out. Okay, yeah, you were right on.
And they got blown out by Marana.
Yeah.
But still, that's a tough schedule. So Saguaro got ranked high because they played Desert View,
Yeah.
and Buenos played these great teams. They played a 6A team,
Yeah.
Mesa Mountain View, and then they're 17. So that's kind of odd, but I think they're going to have to win out.
Yeah.
Buenos to get a decent seed and to keep, to
Keep their momentum going.
keep a good run to get into the playoffs.
Yeah. And one thing I want to add that 'cause we got a chance Saturday one. I still think Tucson High gets in somehow.
Yeah, Tucson High's 25.
25. So really, they're close, and I think they can pull it off.
This will help them play Marana this week.
Yeah, because Marana's number 6. So
Yeah.
so really, in all sense of honesty, it's a win-win for them. They just got to be competitive.
Right. Yeah. I think playing them will help them out. Just playing number 6 team. If they're able to be competitive and win, it's going to even be a bigger boost.
Yeah. Now going to this, one of my favorite parts, because you've been good at calling these, who's on upset watch this week?
Who's on upset watch?
Yeah.
I think Flowing Walls again with Cienega going in there
Oh,
because of the record, the difference in records. I
Yeah.
think Cienega's around 500, and Flowing Walls is only lost
You think
one.
Cienega can get it done right there?
I think they can. Like I said earlier though, I like Flowing Walls coming off a loss, playing at home, but I think I wouldn't be surprised if Cienega won that game.
Awesome. Bobby, do you have anyone that's on upset watch?
No, I don't. Just
He doesn't like the word.
No,
upset.
no such thing as upset.
no, just ball out, have
Heck
fun,
yeah.
and
And then
play
go-
fast.
Yep. And then, as always, to wrap this up, Mr. Morales, and like I said, you're 7 for 9 in the past couple of weeks, picking the MVP of the week. Who you got?
I got Cameron Pippin at Palo Verde.
Cameron Pin.
I bet you he has over 100 yards rushing and 100 yards receiving and like 10 tackles.
Cameron, he's picking you. Bobby, I don't know if you wanted to go with this or you got an MVP pick.
Nah, just I like to see team football, so may the best teams win.
Heck yeah. And then, final statement, guys. What do you got?
Southern Arizona, keep doing your thing. Parents, stay committed. Athletes, stay committed at home, in the classroom, in your communities, and then always keep your team first. Keep the team first. Battle for state championships. Helps your own personal platform. Play fast on the football field. Play violently on the football field. You won't go to the principal's office, I promise. And just ball out, have fun.
Yeah, and then for me, it's just the amount of teams that have a chance now to get in the postseason. I think, we didn't talk about Sunnyside playing Maricopa. They're 2021, and they're play at Sunnyside this week. So all these games now are kind of like playoff games.
Yeah.
Even though we're 3 weeks away from the playoffs, I think these teams know they have to win to have a chance. Or
That
a stronger
urgency
chance.
starts right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, with 3 weeks left, anything can happen. You can go from the top to the bottom or bottom from the top.
Right.
Yep.
Exactly.
All right. Well, thank you guys as always. Shout out Monsoon Production, guys. They're helping us out. They're a brand new sponsor of the show. New Instagram posts will be about them, telling you all they're about. As always, guys, thank you for the love and support. Thank you for everyone that follows on Instagram. We finally hit 1,000. Sabian, hit that applause. So thank you guys. Like always, we'll be here every Wednesday at 4:45. Marana versus Tucson High is our game of the week. See you guys then.
Peace.
Peace.